Hello there. Racism is the belief that all members of a certain race possess qualities, characteristics, or abilities specific to that race. Now, we all know that there are genuine bigots out there in the world. But to generalize, in today's modern world, being racist is a serious faux pas.
And today I'm feeling rather disappointed and a little upset as a person of color because she puts out a video on racism. And I just watched only 4 minutes of it. I think it's it's about a 17 or 18 minute video, so I watched 4 minutes of it and I just had to pause and then comment. And so one of the first comment that jumped out at me on Facebook, where I watched the video, there's this person who says, "Why do you reduce racism to stereotypes and judgments when racism is about institutions and systems of oppression? Making racism about judgments and stereotypes reduces the problems that some people of color face on a day-to-day basis, while also assuming that white people experience racism when a person of color simply judges them." And I totally agreed. And then I had written, I'm feeling disappointed. I'm only 4 minutes into this and racism is already being diluted. Racism isn't just about the ego, and it's not quite about being a good person. This is very surface level thinking. Teal has talked about jumping from Spirituality 101 into Spirituality 2.0 when people aren't ready for 2.0. This is the same concept which I have mentioned in my previous videos when applied to unlearning and deconstructing racism and systematic oppression / healing from the root of these issues. People, especially white consciousness, which has largely constructed a racist society, so she is correct about that, she had mentioned that, are not ready for the color blinding "we are all human" narrative. While we are all human and we are able to relate and connect at that level, it also erases the reality and suppressed history of systematic and institutionalized oppression that people of color experience, as the original commenter has pointed out. So it is important to see the present layers of racism as a shadow or shadow consciousness in order to integrate them. Otherwise, bypassing these issues is also spiritual bypassing, which she had totally talked about spiritual bypassing, and that's where we got the concept from. If we continue to see racism as individual events / something that is easily fixable after 500, correct me if I'm wrong, years of it, there will be no healing. And express that I don't know, that Teal Swan has sociological work to do, and that she might just not, be available to the extent that, or at least offer needs that people of color in particular need.
In the modern world, being racist is a serious faux pas. But to generalize, in today's modern world, being racist is a serious faux pas, and therefore see that person as inferior to me. It is the second layer of race that create pain in the world. I challenge you to see how. But we're less concerned with positive racial stereotyping because it causes so much less pain than negative racial stereotyping. The reason for this is that appreciative notice tends to create a condition within the social atmosphere of inclusion, whereas focusing negatively at somebody in disapproval tends to create exclusion.
The scary thing about a psychopath is they're absolutely very much in control of their actions. They do this deliberately, and they love it, because what happens is when they pull off a fast one, like these guys were describing at the train station, they get a rush of adrenaline in their brains, and it's like a rush, a buzz.
Yeah.
And what happens is the psychopath becomes addicted to this rush of adrenaline, and that's why they're often when they pull a fast one, it's often a smirk a rapid smirk.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the adrenaline. There's actually a clinical term for that called duper's delight. Like if they dupe somebody, duper's delight. I call it the autoferal response, but it's the same kind of idea. They get a rush of adrenaline when they pull a fast one on someone, and they get that rapid smirk, and then the kind of condescending look they give towards you.
In disapproval tends to create exclusion. Whereas focusing negatively at somebody in disapproval tends to create exclusion. Tends to create exclusion. Tends to create exclusion. I didn't want to admit to it. There is a difference between what is right and what is real. Start this episode by saying that everyone in this world is racist. That everyone in this world is racist. Saying that everyone in this world is racist. They just don't admit to it because they need to see themselves as good and to be.
That Teal Swan has sociological work to do, and that she might just not, be available to the extent that, or at least offer needs that people of color in particular need.
Typing does actually create pain in the world. I challenge you to see how. But we're less concerned with positive racial stereotyping because it causes so much less pain than negative racial stereotyping. The reason for this is that appreciative notice tends to create a condition within the social atmosphere of inclusion, whereas focusing negatively at somebody in disapproval tends to create exclusion. And the stereotype that I've made is that Hispanics are greasy and dirty. My mind then goes to work, creating meaning to add to that particular observation. What does it mean for me that Hispanics are greasy and dirty? My mind could then make it mean that they are unhygienic or unsophisticated, so I need to keep my distance from Hispanics so I can stay clean and keep my status. Certain things are unattractive, so a really beautiful woman down in Africa might come up here to the U.S. and be considered pretty ugly. That's about to change. The Muslim religion is about to destroy everything. What type of religious consciousness is the most harmful? And the two that are actually making the top of the list right now is Mormonism and Muslim.
My Giovanna Millen. So in this video, I would like to address something that I heard, and I feel that it is my time to speak out. I left a comment a year ago, and even today on her video, but I want others to know that this was a major lapse in humanity's consciousness as a whole when Teal Swan said that Islam is what will destroy the world in a video. Now, in her videos, she suggests that she is a spiritual catalyst, but a spiritual catalyst would never separate one path from the others. And in fact, they would try to bring all paths into alignment with one another and learn to see the commonality. And the things that all the spiritual teachers have taught in the past is that all religions point to the same truth and lead us to the same destination of joining back with the all. So to suggest that an entire religion full of billions of people is something that is evil or is something that will ruin the world or destroy the world is purely nonsensical. And you have to ask yourself, if she says something like that, well then how wrong is she in other ideas?
Basically, I got lost in this horrendous neighborhood in New Jersey, and I was really interested seeing all of the people there because I was watching a lot of these women. Now, most of them were African American women. A lot of them were really overweight, and I wanted to tap into what they were feeling like. And what was interesting is, the person who I was driving with was asking me, what's the dominant negative vibration here? And even though there's lots of rape, tons of crime, tons of poverty in the area, that was not the lowest vibration. The lowest vibration was this feeling, which I call the glass ceiling. It's almost like I'm never going to get out of this. This is my life. So like if I work in a factory cleaning laundry, that's my life. And like it gets to the point where you can screw it out of a person, you can screw dreams out of a person to such a degree that they no longer even dream. Where quite literally, the best thing I can do with my day is to like go down to the corner store and buy my Coca-Cola. And I watched a very interesting vibration on the women specifically. And it was this. Some of them were actually feeling so hopeless that they were wanting rape. It's almost like we're feeling so isolated, feeling so miserable, feeling like we want the connection that happens so often when, let's say that you have something like a trauma go on, people rally around you, that you're almost hoping to feel that something crash into you. My intention is to build a company that is so large and so unstoppable that nothing can come up against it. A company whose intentions is so pure that not even the people who created the company, not even the executives, the CEOs, the directors, can come up against it.